Welcome to the live action in the final closing few miles of the Ocean Race Europe 2025, Leg 5 from Genova to Boka Bay. I'm Niall Myant-Best, and I have with me for commentary today Annie Lush, winner of the previous edition of the Ocean Race Europe. And Annie, this is sort of it. This is that final roll of the dice, as we're seeing from some teams. Biotherm at the moment very much in the lead, and we could see ahead of the coastal race in Boka Bay the trophy decided.
I mean, if you're Biotherm right now, you are just willing that boat forward in the light wind so you can get this crossed off. As we talked about yesterday, the inshore racing is pretty tricky in Mocha, so yeah, this could be decided in the next few hours. Pretty exciting.
And it's gone from a possibility to now really a likelihood. Biotherm have been able to build up quite a few miles to their advantage, and crucially are pointing right at the finish line. The breeze that they're in, the conditions that they have strategically sailed into seem to be the most efficient. We've seen some boats, Alagrande Mape, Paprika Arkea, vie for the left, for the right, trying to find a way round, but none of them has come good as of yet. We still have a good few hours. We are going to be dropping in live to the boats as we go through the entire fleet. We're also going to be hearing from the sailors on board, and we're going to try and keep our mind open because we know that anything could happen. This has been a long leg. The course as it was laid out, 1,500 nautical miles from Genova down to that southern eastern tip of Italy, and then rounding up north into that finish line in Boka Bay, Montenegro. Our biggest race in terms of miles, in terms of days, but also arguably our largest challenge of the Ocean Race Europe 2025. And this is how the last 24 hours have played out. We have seen two boats pretty much lost at the back of the fleet, Team Amala and Canada Ocean Racing, be water positive, so it is down to our front five to keep pushing on. Alagrande Mape was the first loser yesterday, trying to find some breeze on the Italian coast. Now it's the French team, Paprika Arkea, tucked over to the right-hand side. Who will come good? That is the big question. But right now we are on board with our leader, Biotherm, and look at that, nearly 10 miles to their advantage between them and current second place, Team Holcim-PRB. Amélie Grassi just biting her nails, feeling the tension, I'm sure, because we are expecting a big change in the breeze. It hasn't happened yet. It is long overdue. So the sailors need to keep checking their navigational forecast, looking up to the sky and trying to keep in mind that this is not decided until that first boat crosses the finish line. It's not too windy where they are at the moment, but what a race this has been. This was the scene in Kiel when racing got underway for the Ocean Race Europe 2025. And if you were there, if you were following, you will know what happened between Team Holcim-PRB and Alagrande Mape Racing. That big collision only a mile into that first leg brought both teams back ashore. Real drama on the high seas, and from that low point both teams were incredibly tested, rallying themselves towards the order of the day. But for Biotherm, it was just an opportunity to stamp down their dominance. They won the bonus points on that first leg, as well as being first in to Portsmouth. Little did we know just how well that would continue. But then in Cowes for the start of leg 2, Biotherm deciding to hug close to the coast on the Isle of Wight, got the first 2 points at the bonus gate at the Needles, and was securing their place on the leaderboard, stretching ever further away from anybody else in this competition. But the speed, arguably, with Johan Richaume on Paprika Arkea and leg 2, that blast down south, really saw this team put on an incredible display. When the conditions allowed, that was the boat that set the pace. But it wasn't enough to hold back Biotherm, who yet again picked up 7 points, the maximum for finding their way through to the front of the fleet. At Cartagena, in the heat for the start of leg 3, it was incredibly close racing right off the line, but Biotherm, as always, finding their way through and picking up those 2 bonus points at the first gate. while it was an incredibly variable leg, we saw the team struggle with less than 2 knots of breeze, but then the thunderstorms arrived. And for Team Amala, 50 knots on the deck, while Alan Rora had to go outside to make sure that the reef was secure. From light to windy, the extremes were there, but the consistency, of course, with Beertherm. Another leg win and another maximum points in Nice. The start of leg 4, another extremely light wind affair with all the boats pushing hard to try and get their jump out from the line. But Beertherm, once again, effortlessly getting the reward of the 2 points. But the first boat to beat them in an offshore leg, that honour went to Ambrosia Beccaria and Alagrande Mappe, winning in their home country of Italy. And then that brings us onto leg 5, the leg that is still to be decided at the moment. The lightest start that we have had, with the boats drifting away from the line. But all of that quickly gave way as the winds arrived. We saw boat speeds of over 35 knots in the middle of the night as the teams blasted down south to that scoring gate. Beertherm was the first to get the points, but the fleet have remained very, very close all the way through this final leg. And now we are just 50 miles from the finish for the leading pack. And the question remains, who is going to be there to win the leg and lift the trophy? Well, we are on board at the moment with Team Amala in 7th place, but close right now to Canada Ocean Racing, Be Water Positive, in that battle between 7th and 6th. And I think if we are fortunate, we might get a little chance to hear from the sailors on board on this final push and what is becoming a little bit of a battle between Alan Rora and Pip Hare. Let's have a listen.
Hello everybody, welcome to Amala. So it's been a busy day with no wind for change. Till the start of the race it's been a bit like this. But the good news is our Canadians, they're about 8 miles ahead of us, so that's pretty cool. Really happy about that. We fight a lot the last days to catch them. Conditions are really slow and light wind. We have about 7 knots of wind, downwind, flat sea, a lot of traffic. We are actually passing the mark in 18 miles now, so then we will start to do our upwind progression to the end of the race. Every day the race course is longer and longer. We're supposed to arrive around the 17 today, so we have not enough food. We're still having enough drinks, but yeah, the time starts to be quite long for us. But we're not alone now, we're with the Canadians, so we'll fight till the end.
Wow. Really cool to see how you guys are going there and that you're so close.
Respect.
Really cool to hear from Alan Rora there. How close are they getting to the Canadians? I mean, this is the first time in the ocean, this Ocean Race Europe, they've got this close to another boat. It's actually almost getting to be like a match race, and I kind of hope it is going to be for them. I mean, when you're running out of food and you're running out of water and you're running out of steam, what you need is someone next to you giving you a push and keeping you going.
And this race is long, you know, it's a month and a half. Yes, okay, when we go around the world, it's even longer. But so many things happen along that journey. But that final leg, that final finish, that final last few miles sort of dictates the memories that you'll take. And we know that there is a coastal race coming up in Boka Bay, but this is going to be the end of the offshore section. Oh, it'll be fantastic for this team if they can, even if they can just be in the fight all the way through. I think it'll validate the hard work and the learning that they have been on in this edition of the Ocean Race Europe.
Still live again? Okay.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's one thing, you know, sportsmen always say, well, we didn't win, but we've been learning. But it's really nice to get that validation as well. I mean, and it's not just for your team on the boat. I think you've got to remember that. The Imoca team is a big team. There's a big shore crew, and it's so nice for them as well to get this, to see this. To see those miles closing down.
It's amazing how much, exactly as you say, everyone's invested, and when you're down on the dock, it's exactly that way. And one person who will be watching this boat, Canada Ocean Racing Be Water Positive, from the dock very closely, will be Scott Shoy. He is the skipper of this team. He is not on board for this leg. It is Pip Hare who is in charge at the moment. And they find themselves today with Team Amala rocketing up behind them and getting very tight indeed. And I think we can get a little bit of a chance here to listen to Pip Hare.
Welcome on board Canada Ocean Racing. Been a pretty frustrating day for us. Really struggling to find wind at the moment. We spent all night in a big wind hole and we're fighting our way out of it today. But Amala is coming up to us in fresh breeze. So, yeah, we're feeling the heat a bit at the moment. Just trying to make the most out of everything that we can. We've done quite a lot of sail changes. We've been very active on that. And it's eyes out the boat, loads and loads of hand steering, just really kind of looking at the clouds, looking at the texture of the water. The forecast is not necessarily that reliable. So we've got to really sail with the conditions that we have and not what we think it should be. So, but it's all good. Still got a few miles left to sail in this race, and yeah, we are fairly determined to stay ahead of that black boat behind us. Can I have some keel, please?
Oh, that final word, can I have some keel, please? That just kind of shows just how hard they are wanting to stay in front of that that black boat behind them who has caught them up, making those little bits of adjustment. They find themselves, yeah, needing to work.
Yeah, you could hear the tension in Pip's voice there, and I feel bad for them. I hate those nights, you know, they've probably found a bad cloud or just a spot of no wind, and, you know, you can see on the track of the other boats coming up behind. We talked about this yesterday, that sometimes it's a bit of a disadvantage being in front, that you kind of you fall into the hole first and see people coming up. On the other hand, as we said for Amala, it's still quite a long way to go. In reality, you know, the other boats have gone, they've taken a different course now, so actually it's also good to have a bit of competition. And, you know, for this boat as well, they're also learning their boat. It's new to them. And, you know, it's always actually nice to have another boat near you to test yourself on.
As long as that boat near you
Stays behind.
It stays behind, stays just that little bit back. Exactly right. I mean, but Pip Hare, I see her sometimes when she's got 100 miles between her and the boat in front, 200 miles between her and the boat behind. And now I see her here when she's being hunted, and the emotional state does not change that much. And I'm wondering whether we can ask the same of Ambrosia Beccaria and the rest of the crew on board Alla Grande Mappi, because they've kind of been in that reverse position. They haven't seen someone close up behind them. They haven't closed up to the boat in front. They've lost miles. It was the maneuver yesterday where they bravely, and I, you know, not foolhardily, but they went, no, this is our opportunity to try something. We think the Italian coast is going to be where it's at. It didn't work out.
Hier, je raconte un peu l'histoire du bateau. Well, so I'm in watch with Abby, and now they are resting for the last part of the race. We are entering the last transition with no wind. We gamble, huh? Gamble. We try this approach to Italy to find some wind coming from the mountains and to be able to catch a thermic wind in Italy today. But then the option was good, but the problem is that the boat on the north, they were a lot faster than forecasted, so they were I mean, we lose a lot, but this is racing. We were behind. We didn't have we don't have any interest in playing general rankings because yeah, it's done for us. I mean, there is a battle with Malizia about fourth place, but it's not something that we are thrilled of. So the point was try to do something different, try to gain some miles. It didn't work well. Now the race is not finished because there are some transition. It doesn't seem so easy, the arrival. There are some big mountains, so maybe the wind can be quite tricky. We will see. Now for us there are no other option than doing simple now, but we have to try to sail as fast as possible, even if it's nice for an spot.
Well, best of luck to him, best of luck to the crew. But Annie, he has not let go of how that maneuver has played out. I mean, he's still mulling it over in his head, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, interested that he started off saying it was a gamble, but I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a gamble. I mean, I think, you know, it was, yeah, I'm sure they researched it pretty hard. And, you know, it's almost like the disadvantage of the local knowledge there, because, I mean, I don't know if it's any coincidence, they are Italian, and they went to the Italian coast knowing that there was something there, which they were right on. However, the forecast just wasn't right about the rest of the boats. And that is the problem with kind of sometimes too much information, you know, like believing a bit too much in the models. And yeah, they went with what they know, but it often, you know, how many times do you hear sailors say it didn't play out what the model, how the model said?
And they've got to put it behind them. They've got to put it behind them because they need to concentrate ahead, and I'm sure they will, as has Johan Richomme on board Paprika, because now it is their turn to go for that Hail Mary pass, the wild option, ducking over to the right-hand side. They find themselves alone at the moment. The wind is still with them, but just in exactly the same as Ambrogio Beccaria was saying for Allegrande Mefe. They are hoping that the breeze leaves the rest of the fleet, but each time in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, or between the two coasts, the wind has held. But look at the intensity there. There's still a lot of work. I mean, just the simple fact that there's quite a few people up on deck, still, you know, awake and kind of pushing hard.
Yeah, and we'd expect them to be here, Niall, I think, because right now they are going faster than Biotherm and the other boats. The problem is they've got more miles to sail, and potentially with the wind angle, they've got more manoeuvres and not such a good angle. So they really need the speed. They need every single meter they can get out of this, because that's going to be their way back into the race or even around the leaders if everything works out how they hope it does. But they need every single meter here.
And they're really pushing for it because they are so close to the shore. We're just watching them now putting in the tack. They are within, you know, a quarter of a mile of the shore. So the thing that I think we need to give them credit for is they've said, we think this is right. It isn't paying yet. It might indeed prove to be wrong, but they fully committed to that option. We think going tight to the right, tight to the shore over there is going to pay long term. And if we think that's the correct way to go, dig in for all you're worth.
Yeah, and it's good to see. You can see here. This is you know, a furling tack, and it's really hard work on these boats. They do not want to get through the wind, and they do not want to get going again. Very nice furl there, very clean deploy. So they've obviously done it a few times, and they might be doing a few more of these. You know, meanwhile, their friends over on the left are just kind of in a straight line, not having to pull off all these maneuvers. So these guys are putting in a lot of energy right now. But yeah, as you say, it's good that they're committing to that. They're going to that shore to get that win. They've got to get right into it. There's going to be some maneuvers, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next few hours.
There is about 60 miles split between left and right, between Paprika on the right and Biotherm on the left. The advantage, obviously, with Paul Mayer and the rest of the team of Biotherm is that the wind has stayed there, but it's also the angle that it's coming in at is a little bit kinder. Just behind Biotherm, you can see, as we go on board Team Malizia, how light the wind is. If the camera was a little bit higher here on the German boat, you might just be able to make out Team Holcim-PRB on the horizon, but then it's a good 10 miles further up from there to Biotherm. So we have 3 boats, 4 if you count Allegrande Mefe, who's probably around 25, 30 miles behind this camera view. It's a little tricky. Let's listen on board.
Hello there and welcome on board Team Malizia. We're currently racing in the Ocean Race Europe in leg 5, and we're going into the final night of the race. It's super tense at the moment. The top 5 boats have been really close racing the last couple of days. We've got second place Holcim about 2 miles in front of us. I can see them just over here, and that's obviously our goal, to try and catch them before the finish. It's been a very long, tricky leg. This is day 7 of racing, and for it to be this close is way more intense than we expected. So yeah, we're gonna keep pushing to the end. It's a light wind transition now, So we've got to get through the light winds and then hopefully we'll pick up the new winds on the other side. But really, it's the Mediterranean and it's kind of anyone's game until the finish. So kind of trying to leave no cards unturned. And yeah, we're trying to keep the spirit easy and things relaxed on board because we know lots can happen before the finish. So hello everyone back home.
Will Harris on watch at the moment on board Team Malizia. Let's call it for what it is here, Annie. This is far from ideal conditions for Team Malizia, chasing down the leaders in light winds.
Yeah, in fact, I was just thinking, although, Patrick are having to do some tacks, how lucky are they that they can do furling tacks. Right now, that's the last thing you're going to be wanting to do on this boat. Like, you don't want to move. You just want to keep trying to plod forwards. But I liked how light Will had it there. Like, they're definitely, they're positive. They're looking at the opportunities coming in front of them. And I felt like, actually, they're quite relaxed there.
And they've had to, I think, get used to the fact that performance-wise in the Ocean Race Europe 2025, they haven't really been able to hold on to Biotherm, Patrick, or even Team Holcim-PRB. They are at the moment in a battle on the scoreboard with Alagrande Mape, and they will need the points. It looks like we might have a tie between those two teams, so it could all come down between Team Malizia and Alagrande Mape at the Boka Bay coastal race. We will have to wait and find out. But this has not been a good Ocean Race Europe for Team Malizia. They will need to find something a little bit special. For Team Holcim-PRB, it started off as a terrible Ocean Race Europe 2025. An enormous hole in the side of the boat, large enough for you to walk through. But then they've come back. And they've come back in the race, and they came back on this leg as well. What was it, 150 miles behind? Now they're in second place. I mean, that is a phenomenal performance, and it will take quite some getting used to for the sailors on board, but also for the other teams as well.
Okay, welcome aboard Holcim. We're pointing pretty much straight at the finish line now, so it's the final little stretch, and we've got a big wind transition that we're going through at the moment, so really light winds, only a few knots of wind at the moment. We can see Biotherm up ahead of us, Malizia just off our transom. And yeah, last night, the last few hours have been interesting. After the waypoint, we were happy to see the others split off. It's quite interesting options with Mape heading to the Italian coast, Patrick over towards the other side of the sea. So we're happy because it's peeled them off, and hopefully they're out of the game. But it's never over till it's over. Right now, we're just focusing on keeping the boat moving, getting into the new breezes that are going to fill in from the east and the north. That will hopefully take us in towards Montenegro, Boka Bay. But other than that, it's all good on board. We're keeping sleeping, eating, and staying focused right until the end, because every point's going to count for us, especially against Arkea. So obviously we're hoping that Arkea come in behind Mape. It'd be good for us. But yeah. Right now it's very light. Bye-bye, everyone. See you in Boka Bay.
I was just wondering how relentlessly positive Alan Roberts could be, but he admitted it there at the end. Right now, it is very light. They are all pretty close to just coming to a complete stop. And if you stop, what is it, a 6-ton boat? My word, it's hard to get it going again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fear on board, is that you stop. And, then also, which sail are you going to put up as a wind seeker? Which way you're going to try and point the boat to get the wind? Like, how are you going to get it going? And it's so hard once you stop. So anything they can do to not stop. I do have the feeling like, this comeback king kind of positive attitude is still on board with them, isn't it? I mean, whether it's the whole race, they feel lucky they got back in after that crash, and that their shore crew worked so hard to get them back in. They've got a good boat now that they can carry on with. And now in this leg, as you said, they also managed to come back from 150 miles behind. So I still feel that positivity on board there. But I know it's Alan, he's always positive.
I mean, I think the whole news of the crash will live long in everybody's mind. But for Alagrande Mape and Team Holcim-PRB, they have put a significant amount of positive drama stacked on top of that now, with leg wins and strong performances. And it all means that the scoreboard is looking, well, quite interested. So what we've tried to do here is predict if everybody finishes finishes in the positions that they are at the moment, this is how the scoreboard would be. Obviously, the headline news is that Biotherm would be untouchable. There will be 7 points remaining if this predicted leaderboard was confirmed. 7 points from the Boka Bay coastal race, but it would not be enough for Johan Richomme and Patrick Arkea to reel in Paul Meyer from that top spot. So we might see at midnight or just after tonight, we might see that trophy going to this boat here, Biotherm. And we want a close race, we want a tight race, but there is something poetic. There's something just in seeing this boat potentially wrapping up the competition now.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't done much wrong, have they, Niall? I mean, scoring gates, they've got the points. Leg wins, they've got the points. And they've just relentlessly kept doing the right thing. It would be hard to fault them, really, in anything they've done this race. And it's so exciting to see that, because I don't recall this in any of the Ocean Race legs before, where it's been so clear in the Ocean Race Europe and in the Ocean Race where one boat has dominated so well. And they have been dominating this race, and it does feel like it is theirs. But I'm sure Paul would not say it's theirs yet.
Well, especially when we look around, and you're just looking at the images coming off the boat at the moment, how glassy. What a treat we have. The sailors would kill for the knowledge that we know, not really that they could do anything about it, but Patrick Arkea on that far right, 60 miles to the east, does have breeze. For this boat, what they have is they have the wind coming in at a good angle. But it'll be very interesting to hear Paul Meyer's take on exactly how all of this might unfold for them. The crew, it's hot. You can see them still working below deck. You can see them still studying that navigational readout, trying to work out exactly how best to attack these last few miles. I'm sure what they really want is just a breath more breeze, and that'll be enough.
24 hours. We just entered Adriatica Sea. We are leading a fleet, but it's really hard to manage the concurrents. Many attacks from both sides. The first was Mapei, who attacks on the south of the Victoria. Unfortunately for them, really well, but now they are on the west option, I guess, with Malizia, Holcim, and Patrick did big attacks yesterday night on Albania. So he's visiting Albania coast, and we don't know because it's really light wind, as you can see. It's really light, no wind, and so we don't know. We are in front of the other, but it's really tricky it's not done for the finish line. So it was a bit hard yesterday night because we were a bit scary about different options, and it was impossible to control everyone. So our idea, our project was to try to do. And we are lucky because Holcim and Malizia are following us for the moment. But it's not finished. As you can see, we can see the coast. Montenegro is just in front. The line is in 40 miles. And the wind is supposed to start at the beginning of evening. So we are waiting for the new wind from northwest. Trying to get out of this calm area first and catch this new wind. Normally it's usually during this time. Hopefully. But we are really lucky because you say goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, I just wanted to know what he was about to say when he said he was really lucky. But the one thing I think when I look at Paul there is he does look tired. And while I think the boat and their result sheet looks formidable and you could almost say effortless, it's actually taken an awful lot from them. You could see it in his eyes.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of effort to stay ahead. I mean, racing in the Med and now in the Adriatic, it's so hard. There's so many different, wind directions. They've had thunderstorms. They've had everything in this leg. And what I like on that boat, though, is, We see Paul looking for wind. I mean, they're all looking out the boat. There's one guy looking at the screen, yeah, but everyone else is just looking out. And they're going to keep doing that, I think, all the way now. They can see the land, and they're just willing it to come closer to them.
On board at the moment with Alagrande Mape right now, down in 5th, or is it 4th, with that wide split left and right. It's a little bit harder to tell, but the boat just in front of the Italian flagged entry is this boat, the German team, Team Malizia, in 3rd. And if they could see what we could see, they'll know that the conditions don't look like they're going to be improving for the boats on this side. Certainly, the forecast says that Biotherm should get the new breeze. If and when it comes, they should get it first. So it could be a case of the rich getting richer. But the big question that we're all going to be pondering after we finish today's show and before the arrivals that should be around about midnight or maybe 1, 2 o'clock local time, can Patrick Arkea make that right-hand side work? Every single one of the 4 boats, Biotherm, Alagrande Mape, Team Malizia and Team Holcim-PRB that we're riding on with now, they are all light winds and they're all hoping for a little bit more.
Nice little acceleration there.
We heard here from Holcim, they're really hoping that Patrick Argea's plan to go to the right is not going to work out for them. But I liked how Paul described it. He said we're being attacked from both sides, and you know that is how it is. You know, they've got people chasing them from behind, they've got someone each side.
Well, we are going to have live arrivals in, well, essentially a few hours' time, and you can follow the race on Discovery Plus, HBO Max, and we will be bringing you those final few miles and that push to the finish line.